That's because they have nonstop right wingers on.
That's because the lefties won't go on the show.
The left doesn't love to go on shows, and
I think we agree more than we disagree.
yeah, and I think that the American people agree a lot more than they realize, and partly because the media is driving division.
And I think that's true, even, both with the two of them and with people in general. It's just that the differences that we have are so drastic and they're about things that are so fundamental to our culture and how we live our lives that it's very hard to overlook them. And so instead of overlooking them, what we need to be able to do is to face them head on and still maintain the understanding that we all, basically want the same thing. A good society to live in, all that stuff. Shout out to Tim Stoll in the building. Welcome to the party. Said I would vote for Cenk. He is the live one. He definitely, definitely has a little bit more vigor to him than Joe Biden. That is for sure. Welcome to the party, Tim.
And so, but one of the things we'll probably get into is audience capture. Yeah. And then a new thing that happened, in my opinion, which is guest capture. And that's kind of our fault, meaning the left's fault, because I think Joe Rogan got guest captured. I think Bill Maher did to some degree. Maybe you did. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
So, I mean, obviously, we know that crowd capture is when you are no longer saying what you think. You're just saying what you want. That your audience wants. This guest capture thing, kind of, I mean, I assume it would be just having the guests on that your audience wants you to have, which is the same thing as audience capture, unless he's talking about guest capture being that, I'm just going to agree with whoever is there. But Joe has always been the kind of guy that, he's not there to stake his opinions in the ground. I mean, if they get into it, they get into it. But he's always been the conversational guy. So I'm very interested to see what Bill Maher, Tim Pool, and Joe Rogan have in common when it comes to their guests. David Banner said, partly because the media is driving division. You mean like your company, the liberal shillfest, that media? Yup. But as we'll see, there's a very clear difference between the type of shillfest that you get from the alternative online space like the Young Turks and something like MSNBC. So they're both bad, but they're very, very different. Shout out to Scarecrow. Welcome to the party. David said, I'm glad he said that it's partly his fault, although he offloaded the burden onto the general left. Yep, well, it's Cenk.
But that's because they have nonstop right wingers on, in my opinion. But at the same time,
that's because the lefties won't go on the show.
The left doesn't love to go on shows and that are right wing and platforming and all that BS. So can I curse on the show?
It's up to you. I guess we try not to. I know we try to be family friendly. But,
okay, all right. Whatever. God bless. Okay.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I think you're right. To varying degrees, some are more resistant to capture than others. To the
like I said, they're just a little bit of an awkward opening. So I want to get through a little bit of that, and then we'll skip forward to when they're really into it.
On detriment. And but this has been something we've talked about. And I agree on the Joe Rogan thing too. People they get attacked for going on Rogan. They get I don't go on. He's far right. Why are you doing it? I mean, there are even people who are saying it's a bad idea to have you on the show, but that's the most laughable thing in the world because we try to get.
Hey man, I just want you guys to have fun. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, and welcome to the party.
As many people as possible across the spectrum. And the strange thing about it is when people will say that like Timcast IRL is far right or whatever. Or my favorite was when Hassan called Ian Crossland a conservative. All right, do you know who Ian is? I mean, he's a hippy dippy crystal weirdo who doesn't like Donald Trump. And we don't really know how to describe Ian other than he's just like a wild card kind of guy who doesn't follow the news in the same way as everybody in the culture war.
He's just Ian Crossland.
And so he's often pushing back on us in very strange ways, such as he said Palestine should be the 51st state of the United States, which is a strong departure from anyone in politics. But then he'll get called conservative just by virtue of being on the show with us.
Okay, well, let's get into it because I get it. And but I've kind of changed my mind on something there. And that's partly why I say come bearing revolution.
All right.
Because look, the thing that really set me off, and I thought that you were in that group, but I'm now beginning to change my mind a little bit on it, is that this is a old tried and true tactic of the right wing, is that they get people who used to be left wing and then they turn them into turncoats. They pay them a lot of money, and then they trot them out there like in like hostage videos. And then Tulsi Gabbard will come and go, I am a left winger, but the right wing is right about everything. The right wing is right. The right wing is right. And then they love it. And they just all like this orgiastic reaction of like, oh, even the left wingers agree with us. We're so right. And it's like a trick that works every time with the right wing audience. And it's super frustrating.
They do it with former conservatives and Joe Biden.
Well, no.
Oops. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full live stream link in the bio and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.